I'm going to show you a little demonstration of the translation workflow that you might adopt. And then I'm going to show you also some examples of sentences translated by MT that were processed by LanguageCheck, just to prove a little more the point that sometimes fluency can actually trick you. So this is the interface of LanguageCheck. Here you can start a new check. I have an STL xlib file here. In this window, you can also upload multiple files. The only important thing is that you only upload files with the same language combination, obviously. If you're a pro user, you can apply some filters. For example, depending on your workflow, you can decide whether you want to check all the segments included in the document you uploaded, only the locked segments, or only the unlocked segments. And you can also restrict the scope of the segments checked by indicating the percentage, for example, compared to the match that the segment had with the TM. You can add a term-based file. This has to be in the first column and target terms in the second column. Unlike other tools, LanguageCheck manages to deal with also synonyms. If you have synonyms, you can put them in the following columns. You also have the possibility to enable advanced checks. For example, source and target inconsistencies. And if I might say, this actually works better than standard QA checks. Why? In particular, I'm talking about the source inconsistencies, because LanguageCheck using AI obviously understands the segment, so it's not going to highlight all those segments that have the same translation and different source segments, just because they differ for small things, but only the one who are real inconsistencies. So you basically will avoid all false positives that are triggered by standard QA checks. You can also check target length. Imagine you're translating software strings and you have some restriction for the number of characters of the target segments. You can enable this check in our tool as well. By default, the LanguageCheck provides you with the explanation of the mistakes as English. But imagine you are a Russian translator, a Turkish translator, and you're more comfortable with your own language. You can easily change that from here. And you can obviously also modify the name of the check you are running. In this tab, we're going to see a preview, sort of recap of the file that we uploaded with the number of words, the number of segments, and the language combination, which is automatically detected by the tool. And just for the purpose of this demonstration, to keep it brief, I already run the check. You see the status is completed. You have the same recap again. In addition, you also have a preview of how much effort on your part is needed. As Marco was explaining, the flow lists generally are the segments that don't require further correction on your part, further work on your part. Then you have the needs improvement and the incorrect meaning, which are supposed to be corrected in theory. And you also have the indication of the number of words. So by looking at it, you know more or less how much time it's going to take. When you get to this point, you have different ways of working. The standard way, if you're not a pro user, is to work on a report Excel. I'm going to show you how it looks like. You're going to have the source segments and the target segments and the evaluation that we were seeing in the graph. Here, you can decide, for example, just to filter and see the incorrect meaning and the needs improvement. Then you have explanations of the minor errors present in the segments, of the major errors, and sometimes if the tool detects that there's a flow issue, you also have some suggestions on how to improve the fluency of your target segment. If you're a pro user, you have other two ways of working. You can start post-editing the file you uploaded online on an environment which is in LanguageCheck as well. You have multiple options of filtering the file. If you want to check just the needs improvement, just the incorrect meaning, you want to see, for example, at first just the segments with minor errors, and then you can modify directly in this environment the segments. I'm just going to write some random letters just to show you how it works. So it changes background color as soon as you type something in, and as soon as you get out, it automatically saves. Then let's put the case that you modified a few segments. Based on the comment, for example, here I inserted the space that was missing between the number and the unit of measurement. I did some modification. By filtering for modified segments, I can take a look of what I modified. And at the end, I can export the XLIF that I had uploaded with all the modifications that I did. You can decide also to check LanguageCheck as last modifier, because in some tools you can also filter the segments but modified by a particular user. So this might be useful in that case. The other way of working that you have is getting an annotated XLIF. What does it mean? Basically, by clicking here, you will download and you will decide whether to want to lock the flowless segments as well. You will download your XLIF file, in this case STL XLIF file, which will remain exactly the same. But as a plus, as an addition, it will contain those explanations that I was showing you in the Excel file as comments. I'm gonna show you in Tradus how this looks like. Here, the segments that contain comments are highlighted. Depending on the severity level, they might be highlighted in orange for the needs improvement and red for the incorrect meaning. In the comments tab, you're able to see these comments. You will see that the author is LanguageCheck, and you have various options to filter these comments. For example, you just want to see the warnings, which correspond to the needs improvement or just the incorrect meaning. And you have a way of working on these segments by taking a look at the comment and correcting it directly. What is the advantage of this way of working? The fact that you can really combine LanguageCheck with the cut tool of your preference. For example, if you're using a TM or multiple TMs when dealing with a project, you also have a term base, for example. By working in your environment, obviously you can have your TM and your TB in use, for in this case in Tradus. So let's put another case. You're working on a file, and you retrieved from the translation memories everything that could be retrieved from them, and you decide to check just the unlocked segments because you lock everything that came from the translation memory as you're sure that the quality of that is good. You process the rest of the segments with an empty, and you just want to check those with LanguageCheck. Then you can bring your file back to the cut tool, and you can still take a look of your TM, perform some concordance search while doing the modification that LanguageCheck detected. So I believe that this is a better way to integrate the cut tool and LanguageCheck. And since we were talking and the main focus of this talk is fluency, I just wanted to show you just two sentences that were translated from English into Italian by machine translation. He smiled politely, trying not to show how deeply the remark had hurt him. I don't know, many of you are Italian speakers in the audience, but I can really assure you that the Italian translation is fluent, is grammatically correct, it seems like perfect from a grammar point of view and also from a stylistic point of view. So just by reading the Italian translation, no one would spot that it actually contains a mistranslation. In the English sentence, there's the verb hurt. Well, in Italian, the verb infastidire means more to bother, to be annoyed by something. So actually, there's a semantic drift from the source. Here, there's another case. When she spoke of her father, her voice softened, as if the memories themselves were speaking through her. Uh, Also, in this case, Italian translation perfectly fine, grammatically correct, fluent, absolutely fluent. But in the Italian translation, the memories are talking to her. So there's a shift here in also in meaning and in who is performing an action. I just wanted to prove a little more the point that fluent doesn't mean correct.